Well, hello friends, and welcome to this rather short presentation on CFA exam dates. My name is Dr. BJ Tolia, and I am the Level 2 professor at Kaplan Schweser. In that role, I am responsible for the CFA Level 2 product portfolio, specifically authoring and editing that content. All right, so let's get to this presentation. We are talking about exam dates. But before we go there, let's take a short detour and talk about the concept of 300 hours. Now, back in 2012, CFA Institute conducted a survey to ask candidates as to how many hours they spent preparing for the exam. And so they asked level 1, level 2, level 3 candidates, and they compiled the survey result. And what they found is that average is more than 300. That's what they reported. Now, more than 300 is not very informative. It could be any number. It could be 700, it could be 800, it could be 301. So therein lies a little futility of using this data point or using this number in our planning phase. Also recognize that whenever you talk about the mean, you need to recognize that the mean's utility to describe a data set dissipates, reduces, shrinks as the volatility of the data set increases. And so you can't, when the data set is very volatile, then the mean is not going to be a good representative or good descriptor of the data. Additionally, if the data set is not normal, you can't even say that half the people spend more than the mean. So having said all the concerns with using a 300 hours as our guidepost, what I want to instead say that everybody is different. Depends on your background, depends on your language, whichever is your first language, because you're learning everything in English for CFA exam. So for those who have English as a second language may find it a little more onerous, a little more time consuming to prepare for the exam. Having said all of that, there are three primary tasks or category of tasks that you need to be able to complete. So instead of focusing on the input part of the equation, we are going to focus on the output part of the equation. So part one is simply learn and practice. So that is your initial absorption of new information that is in the CFA curriculum. Depending on the level, the curriculum is different. Obviously, your learning outcome statement are your golden guidepost to tell you as to what you are supposed to learn. And you should be allocating half and half of your time in that first phase, meaning you spend half the time in actually learning the material and the other half is doing practicing. So learning may be, for example, reading the Schweser notes or watching the Schweser notes videos on a as needed basis. And practicing is to, for example, doing practice question generating custom quizzes from the Q bank, from the Schweser Q bank. All right. The second component of your learning of your journey in preparing for the exam is review. We recognize that your learning process is going to be spread out over a period of time, and there is nobody that I know of is going to retain 100% of what they learned 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. So review phase is essentially solidifying what you had learned earlier, and the stronger your phase one effort you put in, the easier it gets in phase two, in the review phase. In fact, there is going to be a high correlation between practice and retention. So your review phase goes through very quickly if you indeed put in enough practice efforts. And then finally, the last one is assessment phase. So assessment is basically what you are going to what you're doing to evaluate whether you actually learned the material and whether you're ready to take the exam. So you're taking what we call as mock exams. We have 6 simulations, simulated mock exams, including video tutorials for each one of them. And the way the mock is presented to you is exactly the same as what you would see on the exam day. So remember, the exam is computer based, and so your software that you're going to see is going to be replicated on our interface. So you're very, very comfortable with the presentation style that you're going to be dealing with. In the assessment phases, you are basically evaluating whether you're good in a specific topic area, meaning, for example, if you're looking at level 1 and you're concerned about fixed income, what your assessment tells you that it's not very good, you didn't score very high, you didn't score as you should have, then what you do is what is called as remediation. In other words, you identify the gaps in learning and you address those gaps in learning. And then you take the next mock. So it's a recursive process as you go through all of the mock exams. And keep in mind, the distribution of learning outcomes is designed to be different, and therefore once you finish one mock, you go to take the next mock and you'll find new gaps in learning, and which you will again address. And by the time you're done with depending on the package you have, most packages have 4 exams. Even if you do 4 full exams, you would have a decent coverage of the material. You'll have pretty strong setup to be able to take the exam and pass the exam. All right, so that little detour. Now we are going to talk about the exam dates themselves. So now for 2023, there are 4 exam windows at level 1, 3 exam windows at level 2, and 2 exam windows at level 3. We'll see level 3 dates in just a second. Now, you will find exactly this information on the CFA Institute website, which is what I would highly recommend for you for a variety of things, including finding out what is the Institute's current policy on test center changes or deferral. So if you sign up for the exam and then you want to change the test center, maybe your job got relocated to a different city, what are the fees involved, what is the process involved, all that information is available on the CFA Institute website. All right, minimum 6 months between exam, and this is kind of the linkage between what we talked about 300 hours earlier. The lengthy preparation process is known to CFA Institute, and therefore they require that a minimum of 6 months should have lapsed between exam dates. So therefore, if you pass your say you pass February 2023 level 1 exam, well, you're not allowed to register for May 2023 level 2 exam. So some of the policies that you should be basically familiar with. All right, so having said all of that, good luck, and hope you find this journey to be a learning journey, meaning if you are going into it, you better enjoy this part of specific subject matter. You're enjoying finance, you like finance, and then you'll enjoy the learning process itself. All right, good luck, and we have more information about all the products that we have to support your learning journey on our own website. So you can look at www.schweser.com.